Welcome back to the Roots and Wings podcast, where we talk about all things early childhood, supporting families, building community, and finding the magic in everyday moments. I'm your host, Melanie Little, director at the Fox Hill School. Today, I am so excited because I get to talk to the kindergarten teachers, Mrs. Butler and Mrs. Roberts, who they will forever be to me, at Great Oak Elementary School, one of our 5 wonderful neighborhood elementary schools here in Danvers. And this one is a little personal for me because Great Oak is where my own kids went to school. So I have a special place in my heart for this building and all the teachers in it. Not only did both of my kids attend Great Oak, but my daughter Maddie and Miss Christina's daughter Emma were both in Mrs. Roberts' class together almost 20 years ago. This conversation feels especially meaningful to me because many of the children sitting in our preschool rooms at Fox Hill right now will walk through the doors of Great Oak and schools just like it in the not-so-distant future. As preschool educators, we think about kindergarten readiness every single day. We're intentionally building skills, social, emotional, academic, and physical, that we know our children are going to need when they make the transition. But I always want to make sure we're building the right things. So today, I'm going straight to the source. Whether your child is at Fox Hill or another preschool, or getting ready for kindergarten at home, this conversation is for you. Mrs. Butler and Mrs. Roberts, welcome to the Roots and Wings podcast.
Thanks for having us.
So, to dive right in, when a child walks into your classroom for the first time, what are the independent skills you may notice right away? And why do those first impressions matter so much in kindergarten?
When a child first walks into our classroom for the first time, honestly, the first thing we notice isn't the academics. It's their independence. Are they able to separate from their caregiver and come in and start their day? Can they hang up their backpack, find their seat, follow a simple direction? Those first few minutes really do tell us a lot because children that can manage those basic routines, they tend to settle in a lot more quickly and are ready to learn. We don't want them to be perfect. It's about having the confidence to come in, participate, and begin the day as part of the group.
Yeah, you can really see the confidence in those kids right away when they're settled and ready to be part of the group. And they just come in ready to go.
Awesome. When they've had a little time to practice.
Yes.
That's great. A lot of parents worry about this, so I'm just going to get it over with at the beginning. Let's talk about the bathroom. Because this is something we work on a lot at preschool. What does it actually mean to be fully bathroom ready in kindergarten?
All right. So the bathroom readiness is a big one. And it means being able to handle the whole process independently. Like going in the door, being able to ask to go in the door, pulling up their own pants and pulling them down, wiping, flushing, washing hands, making sure the paper towels go in the trash can, next to the trash can.
That's a big one.
Trash can. Zippers and buttons are actually like surprisingly challenging for kids. A lot of belts. Like I found belts are really cute, but they're really hard for the kids. Their little fingers cannot quite manage it. And then you see them trying to hold it as they wiggle their way towards us and ask us to help with their belt. And it's a crisis for everyone at that point as we try and beat them to it. So basically, something to keep in mind for families is if you have to help them at home with a particular thing, we're probably going to have to help them at school with it too. So kind of keep that in mind when you're getting your child dressed or helping them get dressed, that if you're doing most of the work, that's also going to probably be the teacher's job. And
Absolutely.
in kindergarten, we're not able to leave a classroom full of kids to help someone in the bathroom.
Right.
So having that independence is really important. And beyond those physical skills, also just being able to ask to use the bathroom and being able to let us know if something didn't go well, if they didn't make it to the bathroom, because sometimes that happens where they get a little embarrassed and then they're sitting in an accident for longer than we would like them to, and not pleasant for anyone. So helping them with those skills.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm hearing overalls, no. Princess dresses, no. They're way too puffy.
Yes.
Yeah, belts.
Boots where they have to kind of strip down to do it.
Yes. Unitards, all of those. Those things. Yes. We try to send that message at preschool too. So hopefully they're getting it's always a tough thing in the morning when they're like, I want to wear this, and you want them to be independent, but always better to encourage them. You need to be able to do it by yourself. So maybe give them a few times practicing at home before they send them off to school in that outfit.
Yes.
And I agree with Vicky too about being able to ask, because there are kids that go home and they had an accident and then, well, they never asked us to go. So
Exactly. Yep.
having confidence to ask, I think, is really important.
Right. Yep. Because at preschool, we say you can, if you need help, you can ask us. But our bathrooms are right in the classroom. So if they don't have to, they can just, if you need to go, go. You don't even have to ask. But they need to have that skill to be able to speak up if they do and know in advance that they have to go.
Yes. Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense.
I would add one quick thing up to not wait till the absolute last minute. With a lot of kids in the classroom, it's not always available. And
true.
So waiting and it's an emergency, there's a chance that you might be unable to continue waiting.
Right. And when it's been a long time since my kids were there, they're now bathrooms in the kindergartens, or
we know at our school.
Okay. But like one potty at a time.
Yes.
Okay. So with 20, 22 kids and one bathroom. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yes.
Great. All right. So we're working on that. Another thing, cleaning up after snack or an art project is something we practice every single day at Fox Hill. Can you tell our families why that skill matters so much once the children get to you?
So cleaning up is actually a really important part of our day. It's not something extra. It's something we build into everything we do. It teaches responsibility, independence, and it also helps our classroom run smoother. We transition a lot, and this time the cleaning up allows the kids to see, okay, this activity's over. Now we're going to transition, switch gears onto a different activity. When they can clean up their own materials, take care of their space, it helps us transition and keep our classroom organized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Kids are used to that expectation too. They don't just start an activity. They actually understand that completed activity means you have cleaned it up too.
Right. And I think that's pretty typical regardless of where you're going to school. You have to do multiple activities in the same space on the same table, one after another. It's not, you can't leave something out for the day because you have to use that table for snack, and then you have to use it for math, and then you have to use it for Play-Doh, and time after time. So that makes absolute sense. So we spend a lot of time in preschool helping children learn to play games together, and how to handle winning and losing with grace and kindness. What does that look like in your kindergarten classroom, and what happens when a child is really struggling with it?
Learning happens through play and group activities. So those social skills are really crucial. We're looking for things like taking turns, waiting, understanding you're not always going to win, compromising with your friends, and being able to handle losing or things not going your way without a big reaction. When a child's struggling with that, we spend a lot of time modeling and practicing what it looks like. We give them language, we support them through it, and we help them build those skills. It's not something we expect them to have mastered by any means, but having some exposure to it definitely helps. Don't let your kid win at every single game you play. Right. That's good. And we do a lot of lessons in Danvers in general, but about SEL, which is the social emotional learning, and practicing with like role playing and real life play. So more consistently, they work on their SEL skills, the more they become just kind of a more natural part of who they are.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. That's built right in.
Yeah,
that's great. So one of our big goals in preschool is helping children learn to communicate their needs and to sit and listen and be a part of a group, or to negotiate with their friends what they need. How much does that foundation show up for you on an average day?
I feel like just like when we were talking about the bathrooms and standing up for like what they are, sorry. Just like when we were talking about the bathrooms and children being able to communicate what they need, the foundation really shows up on day one. Children can communicate their needs, even in simple ways. If they can sit and listen, it typically goes for an easier day in the classroom. They can understand our routines, participate in group activities, and tell us what they need. Kids who understand those skills show less frustration because they can express themselves. They understand what's expected. The kids who are lacking those skills, we do see some more challenging behaviors. The child's not trying to be difficult, but it's that they don't understand the language or understand what we're asking them to do. They don't have the self-regulation tools yet.
Right. That makes sense. It's not that they have to have it mastered. They have to know how to let you know when they need help.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
That's great. Okay. So moving on to a little more academic-y, what parents might think of academic topics. For us, it's all play, but letter recognition is something that we intentionally build in preschool, especially the letters in their own name. When a child arrives in kindergarten and already recognizes some letters, what difference does that make for you as their teachers?
For the kids, like coming from the kids' point of view, it definitely gives them a huge confidence boost, like right from the start. They recognize where they sit. They find their cubby. They kind of feel a little more comfortable from the start. From the teacher point of view, they're more likely to participate. They are raising their hand and engaging in the activities a little bit more because they feel more successful. It kind of just makes the classroom feel a little bit more familiar to them instead of feeling brand new and a little overwhelmed.
Right. That makes sense. And if they feel like they kind of have a handle on some of the letters, they don't have to stress about learning that, and they can focus on making a new friend.
Here to introduce letter sounds and blending. If they already know these letter names and what letters look like, it really helps them make those connections, and they can build on that background knowledge they have.
Oh, great. All right. Well, that leads right into my next question, which is rhyming, blending sounds, clapping syllables. We do a lot of this in preschool through songs and games, and it does just look like play. Can you help our families understand what phonological awareness actually is and why it is such a strong predictor for reading success?
Phonological awareness is huge. It really is just about listening to sounds, playing with sounds and words. That includes rhyming. We do clapping out sounds, noticing beginning and ending sounds, hearing smaller parts within a word. A lot of the time, like you said, it looks like play, and the kids don't realize that they're learning, but it's actually really important for the foundation for reading. Before kids can learn to read, they need to be able to hear and notice sounds in spoken words. So nothing to do with print. They don't need a book in front of them. It's just listening to sounds in words. And that will help them learn to read and write. They'll be connecting those sounds with the letters that they see. So even though it sounds simple, one of the strongest early predictors of reading success is having great phonological awareness. Here in Danvers, we use Haggerty, which is one of our favorite times of the day. That's our phonological awareness curriculum. We're just playing with sounds, and the kids don't realize that they're learning. They think we're just playing games.
That's fun. That's a great way to go about it. What's a fun, maybe low pressure activity that families could do over the summer to keep building up those early sound skills? Is there anything they could do?
Yeah, it doesn't really even have to feel like work at all. Like simple things like rhyming games, playing I Spy with beginning sounds, singing songs in nursery rhymes, like noticing the rhymes in those activities. Just talking and playing with language in everyday moments makes a huge difference.
Okay.
So one of the
like
biggest
in the car or...
Yeah, absolutely. What's the first letter you hear in the word stop when you see the stop sign, or even telling them, oh, that sign says stop, but then kind of moving on. Like they don't need to memorize it. They don't need to practice writing it, but just kind of making them aware of the words you say are also around you, and you know more than you think you know, kind of a thing.
Right.
But basically one of the biggest things too is reading with kids, reading to them, having them, pick out any words that they might know, even finding simple words like just finding those and making them kind of own those and be proud of those. And then, for parents that are interested in going a little further, always, retelling stories, focusing on kind of who is the character in that, what was that story about, so it's not just, I sat and listened to a story. It's, did you understand the story too? There was beginning, middle, and end. What was something that happened?
Oh.
But just, even if you don't want to do that part though, just the reading with them is huge.
Yeah, that was always my favorite part.
Me too. Fun for everyone.
Exactly.
We notice a big difference with kids that have stories read to them at home. Their vocabulary is just it's amazing, and they're able to use it appropriately because they've heard all these big fun words. So
Yes. And coming from somebody with 20-year-old children, they don't let you read to them anymore. So enjoy it.
Sad.
It's just not a thing anymore. All right. So let's see. What else can I ask? Name writing is a milestone that we work on in preschool. First uppercase letter and then the rest lowercase. Can you talk about why that matters and what you actually look for when a child writes their name for the first time when they get to kindergarten?
name writing is one of the most important experiences, first writing experiences a kid will have because it's personal and it's important to them. So watching kids write their name gives us the insight into their letter knowledge, how familiar they are with print, make sure they know to go left to right, and their fine motor development by holding their pencil. We can see that as well when we're watching them write their name. And it builds up pride and confidence when they are able to write their name. When kids are able to write their own name, even if it's not perfect, they have ownership of it and they get excited to do some writing.
Awesome. I'm have a something that I observe quite a lot, and I actually couldn't reproduce it myself, but we'll often see when first they're, learning learning to write their name, and then they'll write it backwards, mirrored. Like I couldn't even do that if I tried. And then, usually by the end of the school year, they've turned it back around and it just comes out the other way. Is that concerning or something that seems kind of normal or?
Definitely normal.
Yeah, it's very normal.
Okay, so
Again, we see such a range in here, but yes, by the end of the year, that might be a concern if it was still happening.
okay,
But at the beginning of the year, it's
not to
very
be concerned. Okay, good.
Parents are going to practice name writing. It's definitely, like you had said, practicing doing it correctly with the capital letter and then lowercase letters, because unlearning that and trying to write it the right way is so hard. And they take it very personally when you try and correct their name.
Yes.
Their name. And that's how they write their
That's
name.
how they write it. Yep.
Yeah. So when it's all capitals, it's a much harder road to get them to fix it.
Yes.
Even when they can write other words with all lower letters, their name will still be capital.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just, if they're going to do it, just doing that first letter capital and all the rest.
And we find that they'll come to preschool they can write their whole first name in all caps. And it is hard to undo. So
yes.
It is, by the time they're doing it to kindergarten, yes. Agreed.
Yeah. The big thing would be if your child has like a longer name, just making sure they know their full name and a nickname if they have one, because they don't want to write one or the other if they're not familiar with it as much. They're only written their nickname. They might not ever want to write their full name or things. So just practicing both.
Exactly. Or if my son doesn't even have a long name, but Reagan decided that when he was in kindergarten, he was just going to go by RBL. I'm not going to write all those letters.
Easier to write.
He just caught on to that real quick. Oh, man. So in preschool, we encourage children to draw people and use lots of colors and really put detail into their pictures as much as they can. Like, keep asking questions. Well, what about this? What about this? What does a child's drawing tell you about where they are developmentally when they get to kindergarten?
It actually tells us a lot about their development. We see the fine motor skills, how they're using the space on the page, how they represent people or objects. For example, are they including detail like body parts or facial features? Are the legs coming right out of the head? Do they have a body? Is it just, it gives us an insight to kind of where they are.
Okay.
And it really connects with their writing too, because a lot of the kids, their first attempt at writing is drawing pictures. So they're able to tell their stories through those pictures, and a lot of them add people to their stories. So being able to draw people with a body and not legs coming out of the head is really important.
We'll leave the tadpoles in preschool. Okay, moving on to another subject that parents always want to know about. Math. counting and number recognition. We work on these in preschool, but I know there's a difference between a child who can recite numbers and one who truly understands them. What are you looking for, and what does that understanding actually look like?
Yeah, so there really is a big difference between a child who can recite numbers and can count to 100 and a child who knows what those numbers mean. So counting by memory is a great start. And we love when kids can come in and they can count up as high as they can. But we're looking for one-to-one correspondence. So as they're counting a set of objects, they know every time they touch a new object, they're saying a different number. And then also, once they get to the end, we can say to them, like, how many are there altogether? They know what that means. Like, oh, the last number I said is how many we have altogether.
That makes sense.
Yes.
All right. We also work on shapes in preschool. It kind of seems basic, but can you tell us why recognizing basic shapes actually matters for where they're headed mathematically in kindergarten?
Yeah, it definitely seems simple, but they're actually a really important foundation for early math. They help children start to understand how things kind of fit together, recognize patterns, build spatial awareness. Those are skills that we continue to build on throughout the whole year. Another way too that shapes come in handy is with drawing people. We always talk about like drawing the rectangle for the body or, the circle for the head. And so it just kind of, if they know those, it obviously makes it a lot easier to draw those.
Right. That definitely makes sense. Let's see. If a preschool family is listening to this and they're starting to worry that their child isn't there yet on some of these things, what do you want them to hear?
We want them to know that no child is expected to walk into our kindergarten classroom knowing all of these skills.
Oh, good.
That's what we're working towards. We see a huge range of readiness skills every single year of kids coming in, and that's completely normal. So everything we've talked about are goals. They're what we're working towards. They're not requirements for them to have on the first day of kindergarten.
Oh, good.
That's our job. We need our job.
That's right. Got to keep you in business.
Skills. Yeah. We're there to support kids where they are. We meet them where they are, and we help them grow over the year. So if your child isn't there yet, it's okay. That's what kindergarten is for.
Oh, good. That's good. That's reassuring. Because I think a lot of parents will ask us, what can we do over the summer to make sure that they're ready? So that's good to know that they will be working on those things once they're there. I'm so thankful for all the time you're spending with us. So I'll finish the last question. Knowing everything you know about what helps children succeed, what is one thing beyond like the skills on this list that you most want a child to arrive with on the first day of kindergarten?
We had a hard time narrowing down to one.
Okay, several.
Yeah. But one of the really big ones is being able to go with a group plan, meaning like children are able to follow the directions and participate fully in everything that we do, even if it's not something that they would choose on their own, or it might not be their favorite thing. It might not be something they're good at. It might not be something they're interested in, but being able to go with the plan. Like, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. Being able to follow directions and listen kind of that first time. So, I mean, there's 21 kids in here, 22 kids having to repeat things 21 times while kids kind of meander over to the rug, it gets a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. And another one is the ability to kind of respect all of the adults in the school and listen and follow directions, but with all of the adults too. Because a lot of times we get very bonded with our class. They listen to us. They're doing great. And then they go outside to, recess, and we hear that maybe they weren't as kind to an aide when they were asked something, or they didn't listen the first time to somebody else asking them. So just being able to understand every adult that works in the school is important and respected.
Right.
Having to do that.
Because they're mostly trying to keep them safe.
Yes.
First and foremost, those adults.
Social and self-regulation skills really do help the kids settle in, helps them feel successful and make the most of their day in kindergarten. So we love when kids are willing to try new things as well.
That's awesome.
In things that are hard. Learning is hard. Even adults, as we know, things are hard. So we need to realize that they need to keep trying even when things are tough.
Yep.
We both had kids in the past that are very bright and they're used to things coming easily. They know all their letters. They can, some of them come in reading.
Yeah.
When they're challenged and things get tough for them, they don't have the coping skills and they shut down. So I say challenge your kid.
Yep.
Make things tough for them and don't save them right away. Let them struggle a little bit. It builds up their confidence and it helps them realize they can do things on their own. We always say, like, you can do more than you think you can. You can do this. We do hard things in kindergarten.
They just have to have practice sitting in that uncomfiness for a little bit to realize they can get through to the other side without freaking out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and I get what you're saying about they listen to you guys, because I don't know how many times I would tell Maddie something and she's like, that's not what Mrs. Roberts said. So I was like, chop liver once she got to you. That was that. Mrs. Roberts didn't say it. It wasn't true.
It wasn't important.
It was not important because she didn't tell me that. Oh, man. Well, I just love this conversation so much because it's exactly why the relationship between preschools and elementary schools matters so much. At Fox Hill, we are not just playing, although play is everything. We are intentionally planting seeds every single day. Every time a child zips their coat, sounds out a word, draws a person with arms and legs and a great big smile, or takes a deep breath before telling us what they need, that is kindergarten readiness happening in real time. And hearing directly from Mrs. Butler and Mrs. Roberts reminds me that we were all on the same team. So thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your wisdom so generously. This is exactly the kind of community conversation that makes our schools stronger. Thank you to everyone listening to the Roots and Wings podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it with a fellow parent, a teacher, or anyone who has a little one getting ready for that big kindergarten adventure, because every child deserves to walk through those doors feeling ready. And it truly takes all of us to get them there. Thank you so much, Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Butler, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thanks to tuning in to Roots and Wings, where we grow together and learn together. We'll see you next time.